One moment, let me just check on some stuff. All right. I hope everyone can hear me again. Yes, it looks like I'm good with the levels, hopefully. So again, hello everyone again. This is now Friday, April 18th actually, not 24. We'll explain that in a second. But again, this is Tosa Fujinami here, aka Tosa Senpai, and I originally had a different topic to discuss for tonight. I was originally going to talk about more about the tariffs but around the other companies that I've been following that have had to change some of their policies, have to send the emails they didn't want to send this week. But instead of that, we're going to talk about something that got announced a few hours ago. The Nintendo Switch 2 pre-order date has finally been announced for the United States, and it will be upcoming on midnight of Thursday, April 24th. So just about Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, about 6 days from now. Close to 6 days from now. So again, that's a relief. Definitely, I feel glad. Again, I want to get my take on the pre-order announcement. Also, there was something else announced during this. What Nintendo said when they established the pre-order date. So first, we'll get to the pre-order date itself. Again, it's Thursday, April 24th. I originally wrote in my notes when I was writing some of the stuff I was going to talk about this for this podcast today was about when Nintendo was going to announce when they were going to have the pre-order date. It wasn't going to be this Monday. That's what I was thinking. It's Tuesday. If they weren't going to announce anything by today, it wasn't going to be on Monday, and even then, it would be too soon for a Monday pre-order. If it had anything, it would be around next week or the following week, and they decided to do next Thursday. Kind of apropos for Nintendo, because Nintendo always does their releases on Thursdays, usually. Sometimes Fridays, but usually Thursdays. So basically, having a pre-order on a Thursday makes sense for them. It's kind of typical for their type of process and procedures. And again, I think it's a good thing that they finally announced it. I know that they mentioned as well that the tariff situation is not going away, but they have to announce something because they do want to make sure people get to buy it, get to pre-order it. And not only that, usually when you pre-order a console, then you have to look at the accessories and games and figure out what you want to do, what things you want to buy, and it gives people enough time to kind of figure out the financing to say like, hey, maybe I should pre-order this game, or maybe I'll buy that game, or maybe I'll buy this accessory. So it gives them that chance to do that now. The good thing from all of this is that I was wrong. I thought they were going to raise the price. I was wrong. They did raise the price though. Nintendo did raise the price, but not on the console, which I was expecting. So the console's still going to be $450 US, which, again, Nintendo is taking a chance here. They are already taking a loss by having a console of $450 American dollars. And the fact is that they are aware that the tariffs are going to keep coming. They may even come back any time from now, because if you read the news this week, the doofus is now looking into trying to tariff pharmaceuticals and semiconductors. So you don't think he's going to try to look into other electronics to take advantage of that? But again, that's a different topic. But again, it's going to be $450. Nintendo took some time to figure this out. You don't think they did, but they did. And they decided not to raise the console because here's the thing. They did announce the console price very aggressively. So to change that now, to everyone's point in the discourse is, if you change it now they'll appear very greedy. And quite frankly, that makes sense. Also, how can they get away with still charging just $450? That's very easy. It's because they don't have to. They have already poured over so much of the production of the Switch 2 in advance to Vietnam, which didn't have the 145% tariff that China doesn't have right now. So because of that, they decided, you know what? The tariffs are on hold. The escalated tariffs are on hold. So for now, Nintendo is okay with taking a little bit of a loss still for now, even though there's a potential that tariffs will still go up regardless. So again, paying just $450 for the Nintendo Switch base model, and then $500 if you decide to get the digital version of the game. And again, I mentioned this before on my other podcast. I told you that the Mario Kart World game inside the console, the bundle, will be digital. There is no way they're gonna pay if they're giving away a $50 physical edition in the bundle. That'd be stupid of Nintendo. It's similar to what they did with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe when the original Switch was released. It was digital. There was no way they're going to do a physical version. So again, is there good value the $500 digital version with Mario Kart World? Sure. if you want just the digital version. Quite frankly, for me, I'm still gonna pay the $80 price for the physical copy just because I want it with me. And why would I double dip on the same consoles or the same system? So I'm going to be paying $450 plus 80 at least before tax, obviously. And I am going to try to get it in New Jersey because I am not getting it in New York and paying the 10% tax in New York when New Jersey is 6%, 6.5%. So that's what I'm thinking of doing myself. But again, I'm glad that's coming out finally next Thursday, April 24th at midnight in the at least for in the East Coast of the U.S. Maybe the West. I don't know what time it will be in the West Coast or in Mountain Time or in Central, but at least for it'll be midnight on the Eastern Seaboard. Now, like I said, $450. That is the great part of this all. The game's still gonna be the same. Mario Kart World is still $80. Donkey Kong Bonanza is still $70. That's not going to change, and there's already discourse saying that other companies are going to look into jacking up their console, their game prices as well, which I did say they were going to do. Again, Nintendo's setting a bad precedent, so other companies are going to do this. Now, what people were upset about, which this is why I was surprised they didn't raise the console price, but they did something very, very similar. So Nintendo is trying to bank on a different opportunity. Remember I said, I think it was this past Monday, I said I was anticipating if Nintendo may have raised the console price by at least $50 from $450 to $500 on release. So instead of doing that, instead of doing that, they decided to do something different because they're going to try to think that people are going to buy things in a different way to still make up that $50. And they basically said all Nintendo Switch 2 accessories are getting jacked up by at least $5 American dollars. So, and here, and I'm looking at this IGN article that has these different accessories. Nintendo Switch 2 Pro controller, that was $80, now it's $85. Joy-Con 2 pair, that was originally $90, now it's $95. The charging grip is now $40. The Joy-Con 2 strap, which price raised the least, but it's still $14 now. Joy-Con 2 wheel set is now $25. The camera got raised up from $50 to $55. The Switch 2 dock set, that's $120 now. I think that's probably raised at least $10, I think, just by looking at it, but I'm not sure. Then the Switch 2 carrying case and screen protector from now $40. The Switch 2 RM carrying case is now $85. That's raised at least by $5. And then the Switch 2 adapter is now $35. That was $30, I'm assuming, now $35. So I listed around 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 accessories. Now, if you average that out, that's around $5 rise per product. Guess what? That's the $50 that they may charge. Now you wonder. Now again, I said they were going to raise the console by $50. They decided that maybe people are going to buy enough accessories throughout the lifetime of the Switch because you may be buying more Joy-Con 2, let's say a special edition or an extra pair. You may be buying an extra charging grip. You may be buying like 2 extra straps. Maybe 2 extra straps. That's just the $5 they get right there. You may buy an extra Pro 2 controller. That's the extra $5. Buy one controller. That's an extra $5 at some point. So it adds up that $50 they're losing on the console, that I thought they were going to raise the price of the console, they're going to make it up on the accessories. That's one reason I think that they raised the price of the accessories. There's a second reason why. Remember they talked about the production being all in Vietnam? That was all about the consoles. Did anyone mention about the accessories? Silence, right? Because they didn't. They never said that they were porting over the manufacturing of the accessories, right? So maybe they poured some, but they didn't pour all. So they had to do something. So the combination of the console, trying to keep the console at $450 so it doesn't cause sticker shock to people, but not all the production of their products made it out of China in time, and it's still gonna be tariffed. So what could they do? So they decided. So Nintendo, like I said, they had to spend time figuring out the costs. You have these financial analysts, these business people in sales, marketing, all Nintendo in these boardrooms. Again, if you think the doofus is doing deals, don't think Nintendo's working even harder trying to figure out what's the best way to put this cost into the U.S. Because to tell you the truth, people are shocked. Why the accessories raise in price? That was the discourse. I'm like, it didn't shock me. I was just surprised they didn't raise the console, but they had to raise something else. So they raised the accessories. And do I think it's fair of us as a consumer? Do I like it? Of course not. I don't like paying for more money. They announced the price. I would expect they were going to keep that price. But again, Nintendo's a business. They're a corporation. They ain't your mom and pop store. They'll give you favors. They ain't doing. They have stockholders. They have stakeholders. They have people that investors that want to make the most money they can. They probably have a board of directors who are getting paid. And also, like I said, if the tariffs come back, which they will, don't kid yourself, they will. They're going to do one of two things. They're going to either need to cut labor so they get more money back to pay some of the tariffs, or two, get into their profit margin, the current profits they have, and use that for the tariffs for the time being. But see how long they survive. So to future-proof this, they decide to raise the accessories first. Again, it doesn't take a genius to figure out what Nintendo was trying to do here. They're trying not to do the sticker shock of the console, because if you think about it, psychologically, in finance, in numbers, they're the same. A $50 raise in the console, or just 10 $5 price increases in the accessories. Because there are 10 accessories, one console. In the end, cost-wise, if I'm buying all these accessories, which, to be honest, there's going to be some people that are going to be buying one of these during the lifetime of the console at some point, doesn't matter when, Nintendo will get that extra $50. Now, they're banking on the fact that you spread out the accessory costs, so you'll pay the $50 eventually, instead of putting the $50 all in the console, so then people have to pay the $50 immediately. Again, it's just psychology. In the end, it's the same thing. You pay $50 for the console now, keep the accessories at the same price, or you pay for this console at the current price right now, the lower price, and then you buy 10 of those accessories all at $5 hikes. They'll make the $50 regardless. So Nintendo is trying to bank on the fact that you're going to buy these accessories and get 10 of them. That will give the $50 that they should have raised the Switch console originally by. Now, does that, like I said, for finance purposes, for monetary, numerical purposes, it's the same. Psychologically, it's different. Because for a consumer, you're like, oh, I don't have to buy it now. I can save up. Let's say I save up $5. Every month I save up $5. So you can, if you're planning to buy the accessories at some point, but you have the extra $5 saved every month, you can easily pay for the accessories and spread out over, let's say, what is it? The Switch is 8 years? Let's say the original Switch is 8 years right now, right? So Switch 2 would be 8 years. Let's say you spread the accessories by one accessory per year. Let's say one of these accessories once per year. They'll eventually get the $50. And again, Nintendo's still taking a loss though, because they're banking on the fact that, again, with inflation, if they don't raise the price of these accessories even further, which Nintendo really doesn't do right now, but with the tariffs, you never know, they could. But assuming there's no tariffs, they're not going to raise these prices very often of their accessories. So they are still taking a loss, but if they figured that taking 50 over the duration of the next 8 years is an easier pill to swallow for the consumer than just raising that console $50 right now and having people pay extra $50 up front. Again, it's a matter of how you view it. It's all psychology. So again, like I was saying before, Nintendo is a corporation. They are not going to foot the bill for all the losses. They are already footing a bill for the loss on the console. The console itself, based on the technology, on the specs, on the tariffs and everything like that, should really be right now at $500, $550. That's why people out there are saying it. They weren't surprised if there was going to be a huge sticker shock. Good thing for Nintendo, they did, but they spread the cost elsewhere. So for those people who are upset about the accessories rising in cost, I hate to break it to you, that's just business, unfortunately. Do we have to like it? No, I agree. We don't like it, but should you be surprised? No. Because would you rather take accessories rising by around average of $5 per accessory and pay that off later if you need it? Or do you want to pay $50 for the more $50 for the console then? To be honest, I'm glad they raised the accessories instead. Because at least if you're just buying the console, you don't have to buy the extra accessories. Then you don't have to pay the extra $50 right now. You can always pay it later. And again, we don't know what's going to happen in this world. If Nintendo decides not to raise the accessories, that may be a good deal, to be honest. They don't have to it may be good they raise it now, so in the future they don't have to think about raising it later. So you never know. Do you have to buy the accessories now? Depends on how you want to play the games. If it's true, and I saw the discourse as well, if it's true that the Switch 1 accessories will work with Switch 2, then all the more reason Nintendo is telling you, we will foot the bill for the loss even more. We're just hoping you'll go out and buy the console now, really buy the console, and then look into our accessories because we decided to let you foot the bill for the increased cost in the console later by buying accessories later. And we're trying to be, and again, Nintendo didn't have to do that. They could have raised the accessories by 5 each and may raise the console by 25 or even 50 like I originally imagined. So again, I'm not trying to be a Nintendo apologist, but you have to understand where they're coming from. They see the threat of tariffs. Don't think they're not aware of the stories of what's going on with Google and Apple. I saw an article about Google and Apple. They are scared shit right now. They are so scared shit what's going to happen with their business, especially if the tariffs coming in let's say, what is it? It's been, what is it, April? In June, by the time June comes around, Apple has the next iPhone coming out in the fall. They don't even have mock-ups or designs or anything for their phone yet, and to move all their manufacturing to another country, they're scared shit because they can't. It's not that easy because there's so much investment in China manufacturing. They can't really just move it, and even then, they're trying to figure out what the hell this stupid reign is doing. So they have no idea. Google is also scared shit because they have no idea what's going on either, and don't think Elon Musk and Tesla's not getting away scot-free either. He's getting scared shit out of his mind too right now because Tesla, it's going down the drain right now. If you don't believe me, look at stock, look at the sales reports, look at everything, look at the confidence in the company, and it's not even the company because I just looked at a recent article that the new Tesla Model 3 that's for this year's version is being ranked as maybe the best electric vehicle out there right now, even better than like Hyundai or Lucid or anything like that. But because it's Elon Musk and Tesla, no one's buying it. No one even cares. Even I'm going to avoid it, to be honest. And I'm looking at Lucid, even though it's double the price. At least I'm not going to. At least maybe, hopefully, the person that's running that is not going to be a douchebag like Elon Musk. But again, that's a different story. Going back to Nintendo, they see Google, they see Tesla, they see Apple, they even see Nvidia. They are all scared shit. So you don't think Nintendo wouldn't want to raise prices just so they won't be even more scared shit? And also, for you, all you thinking that companies are raising are about what's it about? It's about the profit margins. Oh, these companies have so much money. Yes, I agree with you there. These companies are horrible. They are not great. I work for a corporation. I know. It's about the money. They don't care about their employees. They don't care about the people. All they want to make is to extort the people. I agree. Just like everyone keeps saying that the government, you all think the government is extorting you too, which that's a different story. Yes, I agree. There's some extortion going on. They won't say it is because if they did, there'd be a lot more mass hysteria in this country. But these companies, yes, they are extorting you. I agree. Here's the problem, though. If you don't buy a Nintendo Switch at $450, how are you going to get it? That's what I'm asking you right now. How are you going to get the Switch 2 on release or in the first year? Let's say you are a person that really wants to be cutting edge, or even actually, forget that. Switch Up. The channel Switch Up, which I am a big fan of Switch Up, or Switch Corner, or some of these other channels. Some of these other channels I've seen, like for Metroidvanias or for for RPGs, or even Nintendo Life, which again they were big before, but Switch really got them bigger, even bigger. You realize there's a lot of these people who are viewing the Switch 2 console as an opportunity for content creation, for podcasting. Even I'm thinking about it too, getting back into gaming. Maybe not. Don't think I'm gonna do it with my Metroidvanias, even though I love it still, and I really wish I could broadcast it. I may do it with Switch 2 in the Mario Kart world. I may do that, but you don't think people are gonna buy these consoles and actually try to make a career out of this? Again, Nintendo, if the people want, they want to buy it at the first price. So unfortunately, that's why people are going to try. That's why it's important for people right now with the prices right now. Because some people are thinking if it's too high now, they may think they want to wait until a sale, or they want to wait until, let's say, later on. The problem is, because of this doofus that's happening, is tariffs, people are afraid that the price is going to go up. That's why all these other companies are scared, and that's why Nintendo is really knocking on wood, hoping this launch goes perfect, so that when they hit the fall and the winter, and the tariffs get into effect, and they may have to boost up the prices, it's not too much of an impact on their bottom line, because they already got most of the revenue and the profit from before. And again, they're anticipating this. And again, these companies, like I said, they have investors, they have stakeholders, and the problem is that they have to try to make as much money as they can. Now, how they get rid of the money, that I agree with everyone else in this country, or the discourse, is that we need to find a way to redistribute some of their profits, so that it's not like they're trying to extort us and they're just accumulating money for greed, for growth. Really put into R&D, really put into to really put back into the community, even in the video game community, because there's a lot of developers for Nintendo games, let's say, and the engineers and the people that work work on the game developments, that get really underpaid, and they should be paid more. I agree. We should redistribute that wealth to be better. Unfortunately, until that day comes, Nintendo is going to use the excuse, or use the reasoning, the rationale, that they're saving the profits for a rainy day. And that rainy day is going to come if the tariffs come along. Especially for now, Nintendo's trying to fix that, but they can't escape fully, because there's only so much materials you can send to Vietnam without going to China. Because, again, this is something that people just don't understand at times. You can adjust the cost of the supply chain. You can. It's very easy to adjust the cost of the supply chain. It's not very easy to move the operations of the supply chain. Do you know? You guys think it's so easy to say, like, tariffs get all back in the U.S., manufacturing in the U.S. Do you know how much it costs to manufacture in the U.S.? Have you thought about that? Have you looked into that? Do you know how much it's going to cost, not just manufacture, do you know how much labor costs in the U.S.? Do you know that when you get your car repaired, let's say you get replacement of a battery, or a transmission, or a alternator, or your suspension system on your car, have you ever looked at the bill and see the comparison between the part and the labor? What seems more out there, extravagant? The our car cost, or the labor cost? The labor cost. So what? And again, there are people that are going to say we can get away with it. Why do you think the doofus is trying to extinguish the minimum wage, or make it lower? Why do you think he's trying to extinguish laws about minors working? What the legal age for minors to work? Because he knows he's not stupid here. He's not that complete a doofus. He knows that Americans like us, people that have the income to, let's say, work in an office or work in a service industry, not the food service industry, just a more, let's say, managerial type of service job, or an individual contributor, or service industry, or even in let's say athletics, or engineering, or doctors if you work there, or even people who are managers of stores, or managers of restaurants and everything like that. You think? Let me ask you: would you give up your job, or would you do, let's say, whatever job you have? Would you give it up and spend hours upon hours sticking glue together for pieces on a game console, or for semiconductors? Or if you're going to be in a factory, let's say a car manufacturer, sticking all those pieces together, Would you want to do that? That's what they're expecting. And they know the answer is no. So why do you think they're trying to decrease the minimum wage? Why do you think they're decreasing the age for minors to work? Because they know that if people that are going to work those labor jobs, those very finicky labor jobs, it's going to be younger people or people who don't care that they're getting extorted for their income. So like I said, so that's why you have these companies that are trying to, for Nintendo, yeah, sure. Could they make it in the U.S.? They have offices in Washington, in the Seattle area. I'm familiar with Seattle having a Nintendo office, but they can't bring the manufacturing here. That's the problem. So they have all these decisions, and see how I'm talking right now, and see all these different topics that go from here to there to there, here to there to there to wherever. That's what Nintendo's thinking about. It's giving them a migraine, a splitting headache, because they weren't thinking of tariffs. They weren't thinking of changing their manufacturing locations or operations. All they were thinking about, and you may think of this too. All they were hoping to think about when they wanted to release the Switch 2 console was getting this console out, getting it to as many people as possible, getting as many games ported to the system as possible, getting people to get into their ecosystem as possible, and then, because the fact is, the more casual people you have, and here are the people that have to stop saying raise the price or stop saying niche gaming, the more casual people you have, the more your industry will rise. If your industry is so niche or just caters to hardcore, your company will fall down the tubes. That's why Nvidia has gone up. They are not just catering to their niche. They just cater to hardcore PC gamers and just make these graphic cards, just keep going with that and just cater to those people, charge the high exorbitant price for graphics cards, and basically that's it. But the reason why they're so hot right now is they're not catering to just the hardcore. They're going to casual because AI, again, it's hitting everyone. It's hitting casual people too. So they know this, so they change their business model a little to diversify, to hit not just hardcore but more people. Again, even Discord. Discord was originally, and this is why Discord is so known right now to do stuff. Again, maybe not as much people, but still, they were originally just maybe more of a niche topic channels. But now they pretty much do so many different things because they decided to open up to more casuals. So that's why Nintendo is trying to make sure, they were all worried about trying to grow their market. They weren't, like I said, they weren't thinking about tariffs. They weren't thinking about moving their manufacturing operations. Now they have to worry about possibly, do we have to fire people? Do we have to decrease our forecasts? Do we have to maybe get some of the profit that we have? Maybe we can kind of weasel our way to say it's R&D, but now we have to pay the tariffs so that we don't kill ourselves. All I'm saying, people, is that Nintendo, I agree with you. It's not good. We don't like this. But again, I think here's the problem. Nintendo is trying to run a business. They were originally, they charged $450. Who knows if that was the original price? Maybe it was supposed to be $400. The tariffs made it $450. They are footing a loss on this console because do your research. Asus ROG Ally X is at least $600 to $800. Lenovo Legion Go 2 is going to be $700 to $900. Steam Deck OLED or Steam Deck is at least $400 to $600. And don't forget, if you looked at those three consoles, they are fat pieces of shit. They are very fat. The Switch 2, if you've seen it, is as thin as the original Switch. You don't think that's expensive to manufacture? Again, people, I express this in all my podcasts because I hope you all think about this. Don't just take the what at face value. People say, and this is why some people that told me this in the past, and I just don't agree with them, just take things at face value. No, you don't. That's how you could be called a fool. That's how you get taken advantage of. Look at everything you see, and think of the who, what, where, when, why, and how, not just the what. And for this reason, again, what is the story? The what here is Nintendo was able to settle on a pre-order date of next Thursday, April 24th, and they, even though they raised the cost of all the accessories by at least by around $5 average, they kept the game prices the same as they originally announced, and they kept the console and the console alone and the console plus Mario Kart World bundle priced the same. That's the what. Now, who are we talking about? Nintendo and the consumers, obviously. When? April 24th. But here's the thing about the when. It comes weeks after the tariffs were put on hold. It comes months before the tariffs will be in effect. Because the tariffs will be in effect almost a month after the Switch is released. Because the Switch is being released June 5th. That's not changing. So that's the when. Now where? This is the US. Here's the problem. The US is the place that's doing tariffs of 145% on China that impacted Nintendo to delay the original release and pre-order date announcement, which is also why they had to shift all the manufacturing supply chain operations to Vietnam instead of China to avoid those exorbitant taxes, egregious taxes, which is one other person that talked about this, which I'll mention maybe on Monday, egregious taxes. So that's the where. Now the why. Why are they announcing this now? Because they have to announce at some point. Because the US is the biggest. It's going to be, as much as Japan is a big market, US is the bigger market. US is going to dwarf the sales that's going to come from the US is going to dwarf almost combinations of certain continents together. So that's why they have to do this. Do you think they want to delay it? No, because they weren't hoping that they weren't expecting the doofus to be the doofus, but that's why. And now the how of all this. And I'll mention this. I'm glad that GameStop, Best Buy have already sent emails about saying that their pre-orders are coming up soon. Amazon's probably coming up soon. Walmart's coming up soon. Target's already mentioned something. What am I going to do? What was Nintendo do? They're going to try to make it as available as possible. I've heard the stories that they're going to make sure that everyone who wants one on day one will get one because they also don't want to pay the tariffs as badly as possible. I would not be surprised that once the initial stock runs out, it may be an issue getting more. Maybe it's not. Maybe it won't be as bad. But unless that changes, which I'm not sure if it will, there could be some issues getting it. Nintendo will try to keep the cost the same, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's gonna be a much longer wait than the Switch 1. I would not be surprised. We'll see. But I'm just thinking. I'm trying to think along the lines of what Nintendo's thinking. They're trying to make as much stock in the US as possible, get the first stock out there, hopefully keep the price the same, and then they'll revisit if they need to raise the price, if tariffs come in, or to even further figure out what to do about the supply chain. Because like I was saying before, it's going to be hard to get all, like I said, to move all the supply chain, so the operations to another country. It's hard to build factories. It's hard to get the labor. And the factory, I didn't mention, it's a large capital sunk cost. Now you're wondering why these companies keep their profits, right? The revenue. Where do you think they're going to, if they need to build a factory immediately, where do you think that money's coming from? Oh, it's that money they've been hoarding. You don't think Nintendo may do that? If they have to force building a factory, they're going to have to cut into that profit margin they have right now. Especially if they can't fire people. So again, am I happy they finally announced it? Hell yeah, I've been waiting for this for weeks now. I was wondering if they're going to wait until like next month to announce it. I'm glad they announced it to get it over with so we can pre-order stuff. What am I going to pre-order? The console, just the console itself, because I'm going to buy Mario Kart World physically. I'm going to also pre-order Switch 2 Pro console controller. Yeah, no. I won't buy a Switch 2 controller. Here's the reason why. They're going to come out with limited editions. I'd rather take that. Again, I'm not gonna share with you my console yet, so we'll see. A Joy-Con 2 pair? Not really. The charging grip? Maybe, because if they're not including a grip, which I'm hearing they're not including any grips, maybe. The strap? If there are already straps, like originally that the original console had, then I won't buy them. The camera and the wheel set, yeah, I'm buying the wheel set. Yeah, because I want to watch. I want people to watch me driving, for instead of just playing with whatever a controller. So, yeah, we're probably gonna use the wheel set. The Switch 2 camera. I have an Elgato face cam in front of me. It's much better. I don't know. I don't like their camera. Their camera looks crappy. That's like a $55 waste there. So we'll see. A Switch 2 dock set. That I may do, and here's the reason why. I may play it in my office here where I stream, and I may want to play it upstairs in front of my TV. So I could use a different dock and not have to. Yeah, people are gonna say use a third-party dock. Sure, but the Switch 2 dock is more native and may actually be better for things, but we'll see. The carrying case and the screen protector. I'm gonna look into third party, to be honest. This is where I'm gonna get third party because I actually like. There's a company called Skull and Co. that I've bought cases from. I actually like that. Actually, no, the Kill Switch. The Kill Switch from Dbrand. Yes, the Kill Switch 2 from Dbrand. I'd rather take that than this. So, yeah, we're gonna go with Dbrand. So not the carrying case, not the all-in-one carrying case, and the Switch 2 AC adapter. Yes, definitely another one. If I'm buying a dock, I need to buy another adapter. So let's see. We got the charging grip, the wheel set, the dock, and the AC adapter. That's the accessories that I'm going to look into buying. See? Nintendo's only making 20 from me. Or maybe 25 if the dock is $10 now. 25. So, they're making half of whatever they're going to for the console. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But yeah, I just wanted to be on here talk about the Switch 2 pre-order. It's something that that was announced just a few hours ago, just several hours ago, something new. Figure I'd change my topic. Originally I was going to talk about something else, but I think talking about Switch 2 was worth it, and quite frankly, thank God they finally announced the pre-order date in the US. Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed my take on this for the Switch 2 pre-order, and I hope you're looking forward to the system just like I am. And yeah, I'll be back on Monday with our podcast. I think I want to focus on gaming just because gaming is a great topic for me. I love it. I can talk about it so much and relate it to other things. So I'll find a gaming topic. I don't know. We'll find something during the weekend. So, but yeah. But thank you, everyone. Again, this has been Tosawa Fujinami, aka Tosawa Senpai. Again, I give you the other side of the story as well, not just the what, but all the other who, what, where, why, when, and how. And yeah, give me a follow if you can, subscribe if you want to, and thanks for watching, and I'll be back on Monday. Everyone.